Hello and welcome to Salford Now. I'm Beth Hemmings.
And I'm Emma Davidson. On today's programme, we bring you an exclusive interview with Robin Butler, a pro-Brexit supporter who organised a protest in Media City against Theresa May's Brexit deal.
A worrying new trend is sweeping the young gaming community. A Salford school has issued a warning to parents.
And a new statue of Emmeline Pankhurst is the first statue of a woman to be unveiled in Manchester since Queen Victoria.
Welcome to the programme. Supporters of the pro-Brexit Leave Means Leave have been protesting in Media City this afternoon. They were campaigning against Theresa May's withdrawal agreement from the European Union, which has been causing chaos in Parliament. Our reporter Thomas Mayer was there and spoke to some of the protesters.
We import £320 billion worth of goods and services from the EU. They can't afford a no deal either.
They voted to leave. They want to leave the customs union. They want to stop paying the 50 billion a day. They want to get their fishing rights back.
The majority of people that leave want to leave in an orderly fashion with mutual benefits to both parties. We want to have a deal, but not the deal that the Prime Minister is offering.
Rob Butler, a pro-Leave supporter and organiser of today's protest at Media City, joined us earlier today.
So why did you choose Media City and specifically Salford for your protest today?
Two things. We wanted to protest against the withdrawal agreement and the absolute maelstrom that has become British politics. There is a large rally going on for Leave Means Leave in London today, and I couldn't be there, but I was so incensed by what was going on that I wanted to actually express that democratically. I looked to find a European Union office in the north and couldn't find one. There is one in Smith Square in London, but there's not one in the north. And in fact, I think that's one of the problems with the EU. There's no democratic accountability. Where the heck do you go and sort of actually make a representation to? So my view was that I would protest outside the BBC at Media City, because that is, as far as I can see, part of the establishment, part of the elite, who actually promote the myth that the EU is a force for good, and I don't believe it is. So that's why we're here. So it's two things really. One, to protest against the withdrawal agreement. Secondly, to protest against the bias or the perceived bias that the BBC has.
Okay, so what's your main issue with BBC coverage? What's your main and what's your evidence?
Yeah, well, okay, good. My point is, my evidence is almost every single news programme. If it's bad news, we'll have despite Brexit. Despite Brexit, okay. Good news rather. We'll have despite Brexit. Good news will be attributed to something that the European Union is doing. I feel that when you have interviews, they tend to be, if they're not Remainers, they are Leavers plus. They don't really represent, I think, a lot of the people who I talk to on a day-to-day basis.
They've had Jacob Rees-Mogg on quite a lot, haven't they?
Yeah, they have Jacob Rees-Mogg, but normally they'll have two or three other people from the Remain camp with them. And at the same time, so it's never a balanced approach. That's how I feel. That's how I perceive it. I think that we're now in a situation whereby, for me, I think that on the 29th of March we will leave. We will not crash out, but we will leave on World Trade Organisation terms, and then that's fine. That's absolutely fine for my own personal opinion.
Okay, so do you think we should crash out, or do you think another deal would be better?
I don't think we crash out. I would like a deal because I think they are our friends and allies, okay? And I think that's really important to put that across. I think they, in some respects, are not acting like friends and allies, but nevertheless they are our friends and allies. We do a huge amount of trade with them, and I would like a trade agreement that actually facilitates the movement of people and goods and services, but not at the expense of our sovereignty.
If all we're faced with is a no deal, do you think we should have a second referendum?
The problem with the second referendum is you're saying to 17.4 million people, you got it wrong. I think that people voted to leave. There was a very clear choice on the ballot paper, which was you either remain or you leave. We've had 2 years
Was it really that clear, though?
It was absolutely that clear. That's what it said in the ballot paper. And for the last 2 years, you've had a government that has tried to keep us in the European Union, not leave the European Union. And that is not what was asked. That was not the question that was asked by the people.
As a response to the protest, in a statement the BBC told us, we continue to report Brexit impartially and feature a wide range of different perspectives across our news coverage. Our journalists report independently and without fear or favour.
And now, St Luke's Primary School in Salford has sent a letter to parents about a new gaming trend, Strip Fortnite. It surrounds the Battle Royale survival game Fortnite, where a player must lose an item of clothing if they lose a game.
What started off as harmless fun amongst adults turned out to be dangerous for children. We have our reporter here, Matt Taylor. For those viewers that don't know, Matt, what is Fortnite?
Yeah, so Fortnite is an online shooter game that starts with 100 people in the session, in the gaming session, and ends up with one player standing at the end. Now, Fortnite is currently the biggest video game in the world at the moment, with over 200 million players at this moment in time. And the idea of the game is that you've got to kill other players, but the violence is cartoon-like.
So what are the concerns surrounding the game?
So it's like I said, there is violence, but it is cartoon-like. But it can be dangerous for the children because of the strip element of it, which is awful.
Has the school done anything to inform the children on how to be safe?
Yes, so the school has links with external companies that kind of keep the school up to date with internet safety and what the current things that are happening to do with internet safety. So the school are always aware of what's happening with that, and the school have extracurricular lessons for the children to put on to learn the importance of internet safety.
Perfect, thank you for that, Matt.
The 14th of December marks a special day for women. 100 years ago, women were given the right to vote for the very first time. The Network for Female Staff at the University of Salford are celebrating at the unveiling of a new statue of Emmeline Pankhurst.
Women's Voice marched to the unveiling of the statue dressed as suffragettes in honour of the women who fought for our right to vote. Our reporter Lauren Millwood went to celebrate with the marchers.
Today, Greater Manchester seen the unveiling of the Emmeline Pankhurst statue. The marches echoed scenes from a century ago when women first marched for the vote. Alison Thompson said the marches could not fall on a better day.
And today is the 100th anniversary of the women exercising their right to vote for the first time.
The actual day today.
So it's good that it's fell on this day, really.
Yes.
Planned it like that. That's why we said, why December? They said, no, this is why.
To have a statue of Emmeline in Manchester is fantastic because this is where she was born. Plus, there are not many statues of women in Manchester, it's mostly men, so to have a female feminine statue in Manchester is amazing, isn't it?
Dr. Nadine Watson was among the group of women that were marching from the University of Salford.
From our perspective, we want to be involved as closely as we can with Emmeline's great legacy. I think the evidence of that in Manchester, women of Manchester are fantastic, strong, independent women, and why not? Why not celebrate this success? There aren't enough statues of women anywhere in the UK.
Local high schools also came along to inspire the next generation.
They've come because they want to be part of something that's very historical. I wanted them to see what happened 100 years ago and to see the unveiling of the statue, which we're going to be part of the march to. So they've done a written piece for me. I've got some artwork, I've got poems, I've had written pieces of students that said they want to understand the history of our country, the rights of women and the problems that we still face today.
Emmeline Pankhurst's great-granddaughter was among the speakers addressing the crowd 100 years later, and Helen Pankhurst is still carrying on her legacy. From the hundreds of women and men that gathered at the ceremony today, it just goes to show that Emmeline is not going anywhere anytime soon. Yay! Laura Millward, Salford Now.
And now the launch of a £5 million restoration of the Church of Ascension took place yesterday. In February 2017, the church was destroyed by an arson attack just after a £250,000 renovation.
To celebrate the launch, workshops for the residents as well as site visits for school children and Salford architect students took place. Emma Butler has more.
Construction company Seddon have launched a 2-year project to rebuild the Church of the Ascension in Lower Broughton. The launch celebrated the rebuild and restoration of the community.
The project we've got is 75 weeks, so we've an awful lot to go through to get us there. But from my point of view, what we want to do is just to get that building safe, stable, and watertight.
The building was destroyed in an arson attack in February last year and has stood derelict since, until today. As you can see from the scaffolding behind me, the rebuild has already begun for what will be one of Salford's Phoenix from the Ashes projects. The project will be split into 2 phases to restore the interior and exterior of the church. Members of the community are invited along to the launch.
It's an honour really to be able to put a building like this back, back for the public and back for the community.
Yeah.
Proud to be involved with it, and fair play to Seddons. They've kept all the businesses, used all local businesses to be able to get the work.
The 149-year-old church was subject to the arson attack after a £250,000 renovation.
And this was a great work of darkness to destroy this very beautiful and iconic building. But the works of darkness do not have the last word. So let me make a prayer. Almighty God, give us grace that we may cast away the works of darkness and put upon us the armour of light.
The project is driven by the Salford community, along with the church's canon, David Wyatt.
It has been a marvellous reaction with wonderful support. On Sunday next, we shall be out in Green Grosvenor Park singing carols, and everybody will come together.
The restoration will bring life back into one of Salford's much-loved churches. Emma Butler, Salford Now.
And now we're over to Jack with the sports.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot happening on today at Monton Sports Club, from a Sports Personality Award nominee to a brand new oak tree. The tree was planted to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Manchester Airport and was attended by MP for Salford and Eccles, Rebecca Long-Bailey. Keith Brooks was presented with the BBC Unsung Hero Award for the North West this week after over 60 years of service to Monton Sports Club. He's in the running to win the National Award this weekend. You can see how Brooks get on by watching the awards ceremony at Sunday night at 8 p.m. Plans to ban TV adverts during pre-Watershed live sport will come into play next year. It follows political pressure about the amount of betting advertising on TV. No betting adverts will now be shown during live sport coverage before 9 p.m. in the UK, from 5 minutes before the event until 5 minutes after it, meaning that Ray Winstone will no longer be on our screens at pre-Watershed times. I'm as sad as you guys are. Salford City appear to be in the first round of the FA Trophy this weekend for the first time in the club's history, taking on fellow National League side Gateshead at the Peninsula Stadium. The Ammies will be hoping to bounce back from their disappointing defeat at Chesterfield last weekend and get back into winning ways as they head into the busy Christmas schedule of fixtures. Speaking of Christmas, ladies, will you be attending the Salford Now Christmas party tonight? I heard the drinks are on Duckers.
Oh, well, if the drinks are on Duckers, then absolutely. Why not?
And finally, funding for football at grassroots level has been a topic of debate for some time now. Premier League football is on big money when your local junior clubs are struggling to rent pitches to play on. Matt Roberts spoke to Beachfield United to find out more.
Modern football is a game all about money, it seems, but away from the glitz and glamour of the Premier League, times can be a bit tougher. Junior sides often rely on the local community to secure the necessary funding required, and often cannot afford to even have one localised home pitch for all the sides to train on. Beachfield United are one such club here in Salford, and I caught up with under-9s coach Gareth Booth, who says he'd be keen to see more money from the higher levels trickle down and help him support his young stars of the future.
Not even 5% of maybe one footballer's wages could probably build us a 3G pitch, and it could just solve all our problems basically. But like I say, we just seem to be forgot, and there may be the next kid here who's maybe the next Messer, for all you know.
For all their financial struggles, the staff at Beachfield, who are largely volunteers, continue to carry out their work with the club. A large motivation for Gareth is keeping kids active and out of trouble in the local area.
With the kids in this generation now, with the PlayStation and the Xbox, it's kids like when I was a kid, I'd go to Main Road and come home, and then I'd want to recreate it on the football pitch with my friends. But now kids are just sitting in the house playing Xbox. So to get them out the house and get them playing, and to get kids from standing outside shop doorways and getting into trouble is like what it's all about, and that's why we do it.
The staff at Beachfield United will continue to the best of their abilities to serve their young players. They hope that better financial times are just over the horizon. Matt Roberts, reporting for Salford Now at Beachfield United.
That's all I have time for today, folks. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Jack.
So as you can see, today is Christmas Jumper Day.
I think we've done quite well, to be fair.
We have, we look great. There's several businesses around Salford taking part and across the UK to raise money for Save the Children. Caitlin Jones, so tell us a little bit more about Christmas Jumper Day.
Well, you're definitely looking very festive, both of you.
Thank you very much.
The Christmas Jumper Day has been running for 6 years now. You donate £2 when you wear your Christmas jumper. I hope you donated today.
Yes, I have.
Perfect. The money all goes to a good cause, goes to Save the Children. There's doing a lot of good work at the moment. The University of Salford's also taking part, raising money. The students have set up a pop-up booth for... a pop-up booth outside the new Adelphi building. The pop-up booth has got lots of props.
Do you have, so with Christmas Jumper Day, is this your festive jumper? The one that you've got on now?
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's very, it's not quite as festive as your guys.
Still
but
lovely.
It is very. We went to the event where outside the pop-up shop, and students were volunteering at the event, taking photos of everyone. It was very festive, and I hope they raised quite a lot of money from it. Other businesses within the area are also volunteering, including Nando's. We went down, not quite turkey, but had a good piece of chicken.
Lovely. Perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Now to Ellie for the weather. Is this chill going to be sticking around, Ellie?
Yes, another cool day here at Media City, and will remain that way as we head into this evening with a low of 1 degree. Looking at the weekend, it's a fairly mixed forecast with a few rain showers and sunny spells and highs of 7 degrees. So if you're going into Manchester for a little bit of Christmas shopping or buying a pint at the Christmas market, don't forget to keep your coats on and maybe bring an umbrella.
And that is all from us here at Salford Now. Hope you have a lovely Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Goodbye.